Hi guys, my name is Ibreez and I currently work as a doctor in the NHS. Thanks for joining us on yet another lesson in our Introductory and Beginner's Guide to Plab. In this video, we're going to talk about your Plab requirements, or the prerequisites before you can take the Plab exam. If this is the first time you're checking out our channel, welcome. Basically what we do is we run a website that's totally free known as roadtok.com, and it will explain the ins and outs about everything related to the United Kingdom and what it takes for you to work as a doctor in the NHS. So if you've not already, please stalk us on all of our social media. Find us on Facebook, find us on Twitter, Instagram, and of course YouTube. Don't forget to subscribe. We've talked a little bit already about what you need to know about the Plab exam, but really, if you're not eligible, if you don't meet the requirements or the prerequisites before you get into it, it really doesn't help you to know much about the Plab exam if you're not eligible to apply. I think the first thing you need to make sure of is if your college or your medical college is listed on the World Directory of Medical Schools, or the WDOMS website. Literally, guys, just type that into Google, it'll come up. And you need to see if your college is listed there. That'll be the first step. There are going to be some variations. I know a lot of times people are like, oh my god, my college isn't listed there, the world's going to end. Double check the spelling, make sure, there's so many ways that you can search it. You can search by your city, by your country, and find if your college is first listed there. If it's not listed, through that website you can contact them and they will tell you exactly how to get it listed. Once you've seen that it is listed there, or you've gotten it listed, you need to see it once you open up your GMC online account if your medical college is listed there. Again, the same thing applies. Please make sure you're spelling the name of your medical college correctly and that it is actually not there before you think about getting it accepted by GMC. If you are watching this video right now through our website, we'll put the link in our learning materials. And if you're watching us right now on YouTube, if you check in the description box below, we'll link you to an article that takes you through the entire process of getting your primary medical qualification accepted and verified by the General Medical Council, because this is something that you will need to do, especially if your medical college is relatively new or you are the first batch of graduates from the medical college and nobody's applied for Plab beforehand. So it's nothing really that you need to be worried about. It's something that is impossible to do. We know a lot of people who've gone ahead and done it. Don't worry. Now, if you've seen that, yes, it's listed on WDOMS, yes. It's listed there, and you've seen that, yep, it's on your GMC online account as well. You've gotten pretty much the first few main steps out of the way. Next, you need to start thinking about your English language requirements. They have to check that you're proficient in English. It does not matter what your nationality is. What they're looking at is what country you've graduated from your medical school, and whether or not that, basically they think that they would be speaking enough English there for you to be fluent or proficient in English. Here, UK NARC would not apply at all. You have to take either IELTS or OET. For IELTS, in order for it to qualify for GMC registration, you must have in each module or each section of the IELTS exam a minimum of 7.0. That is in each module. It has to be at least 7.0. And overall, it must be 7.5. Okay, guys? So, in that situation where, let's say, you got an overall of 8, but in one of the modules you only got 6.5, you would not be eligible for Plab or for GMC registration because you've not met the minimum criteria per module. So it's very important that you make sure you get all of those marks, 7 across the board minimum, and overall 7.5. For OET, they need you to get a B. I know that there's a lot of discrepancy in how it's being graded sometimes when it talks about the score, if they have a number mark or if it's a numerical value, but effectively whatever comes across as the B is what you need to have. 350 to 400, if I'm not mistaken, is actually what it comes down under. So those are the two things you need to get out of the way. You got the IELTS and OET done. All right, you graduated from medical school, done. You have checked that your school is listed in WDOMS and it's listed in the GMC account. Good, you're set. You take Plab 1. All right, you pass Plab 1. Plab 1's exam setup is a little bit different than perhaps most of the exams that you would have taken in most of your medical life. It is a multiple choice based exam. It's a written exam. The thing is, there's no set pass mark. Like, I can't just tell you, oh, if you get 75% of the questions right, you will pass. Or if you get 80 out of the 180 questions right, you will pass. it's set in the way that it's based off of what everyone else has done, and they put it on a type of bell curve, and then they see where the majority falls, and that's how they grade it. So the pass marks vary every year. Sometimes it can be 101, it can be 116, it can be 120. It really just depends on how well everyone else has done in that exam. After you pass Plab 1, you are then eligible to apply for Plab 2. I again want to emphasize very heavily, you cannot take Plab 2 before you take Plab 1. Plab 2 is a OSCE type setup. Basically it's like you're doing a real situation. There's going to be patients, there's going to be a scenario that you'll have to face outside. You'll read about it, you'll enter the room, and then there will be a situation, there may be a procedure you may have to do, an examination you have to do, or basically just a conversation with a patient. But effectively what you need to remember is the Plab 2 exam, after you've passed that, and again, like I said before, it's something that you have to take in the United Kingdom. You pass Plab 1, you pass Plab 2, and then you can apply for GMC registration. You may be wondering about the timeline for all of this. So with your IELTS or OET, the validity is 2 years. And the same basically goes for your Plab 1 or your Plab 2 exam. So if within 2 years you're able to complete every step in this process, you would be eligible to apply for GMC registration. You wouldn't have to take an exam again. If at any step of this way, however, your IELTS or your OET were to expire, you would need to take it again before you could apply for GMC registration. If for some reason you took IELTS the first time, you got the required marks, but the second time around when you took it, because it had expired the first time, you didn't get the required marks, GMC will not take into consideration that first one, unfortunately. They're most interested in your latest exam. So I would really discourage any of you from taking both exams at the same time, or for applying for a recheck and then taking the exam again, unless you're 100% confident in your second attempt, because basically GMC is only going to be looking at the latest attempt. Whichever result you've gotten latest, the most recent one is the one they're going to be looking at. They don't care if you managed it on the exam before if it's not the most recent one. So please be very sensible yet again when you're thinking about how you're going to take these exams. I know a lot of us put a lot of time and effort and stress out about getting the required marks for IELTS and OET, but it is something that you have to be patient about and prepare well for. Now, going in depth about how to prepare for IELTS and OET, unfortunately, is beyond the scope of these lessons. But if you check in our lesson materials, or again in our description box if you're watching us from YouTube, we will link you to articles and videos where we have talked about things that you'll need to know and how to prepare for IELTS and OET, and how best you can structure basically your approach to these exams. So that wraps up this lesson. Next, what we're going to talk about is how you can open up a GMC online account.